Hey guys, it's Sean Zing, the Connection Machine, aka the Insurance Doctor. Live number 77 on the year. Again, I know we're all about providing value, and I want you to take advantage, take action, and implement some of the ideas, some of the strategies, some of the golden nuggets you're going to hear from us in our conversation today. Reminder, this is a conversation I normally have when I'm face to face with people. Now, the benefit is you get to see what we talk about. I want you to remind you, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would love to continue growing my audience there. It is live there as well. So if anyone's on and don't want to be on Facebook, you can check us out at my YouTube. Please check out webtalk.co/connection machine. It's the platform that pays you to socialize. If you want to learn more, definitely reach out to me. I would love to explain that to you. And if you're interested in any digital business cards, check out webtalk.biz. Let me bring on my guest, Amin. How are you, my friend?
Hey, how are you, Sean? Thank
Thanks
you
so
for
much for
having me.
sharing some time, man. This is going to be fun.
Yes, definitely. Thank you for having me, man.
I know, we were talking before we got on, and video is not the biggest thing, but nothing to worry about. We have millions of people watching us, and you don't have to worry about anything you say. We
It's
are going
okay.
to have some fun. Don't worry. We're going to
Sounds
have
good.
lots of value. Every one of us has that genius inside, and it's just a matter of just having that conversation and asking certain questions. Things will pop out. It'll be fun. And people watching, we have a lot of people that will jump on. Reminder, hashtag live if you're watching on the live, hashtag replay on the replay. Please drop a comment where you're watching us from, and don't forget to hit the share button. We want to help as many people as possible. Now, Ahmed, can you give us a little introduction of who you are?
Sure. My name is Amin. I'm a professional engineer and a professional home inspector. I'm based in Jersey City. I work all over New Jersey, well, mostly North and Central Jersey. And I run the company Outlet Home Inspections. So I'm your local home inspector.
Awesome. Now, how long have you been doing home inspections?
So home inspections specifically, I've been doing a little over 3 years now. Engineering, which I've been doing simultaneously, I've been doing about 9 years, give or take. Um, so they both go hand in hand. It's been an interesting mix.
No, that's awesome. And what made you get involved with that kind of industry?
I've always loved real estate, man. Even as a kid, my uncle used to grab me and we used to fix up houses all over Jersey City. It was a much better time, much cheaper time back then, I should say. So I used to help him out all the time, running around. Same thing with my dad. My dad bought property, so just watching him doing it. And then I jumped into engineering. I did civil engineering. So civil engineering, as you know, it's really big on building structures, water resources, traffic control, anything that you could think of with respect to the construction market. And then it was pretty much a seamless transition right into home inspections. I mean, even in my engineering job, I worked on the field. I wasn't just glued to a computer, I was a field engineer. So I said, let me try to do something for myself. So I jumped right into it, and I've been doing it ever since.
Now, with changing your mindset that you're an entrepreneur, you wake up every single day, right? That
Yeah.
you have to make some kind of money, you have to make some kind of connections. How have you been, marketing your services, or how are you prospecting daily?
Instagram is a really big one. I mean, I always put the pictures like inspected, or I just did this house, this complex, this condo. I mean, that of course gets a lot of traction just from
Hmm.
the realtors alone because they're constantly posting pictures on homes. But I also like to post items of issues I find and why they are issues. I always try to find a matching figure if I can online, like, hey, this is a structural problem. This is why it's a structural problem. Hey, here's a picture of the roof. I utilize a drone to inspect the roof. Everybody loves the drone because it's a big eye catcher. It catches pictures. It's kind of cool. You got a cool device up there. So I do put a lot of drone pictures. I use it to my advantage. And then just overall, I just try to have fun. And And when I post anything about an issue, I'm almost borderline kind of keeping myself on my toes and teaching myself. So it works hand in hand. So Instagram, Facebook, I'm on Google. There's a lot of reviews. Thank God I haven't had a bad review yet. Knock on wood. Haven't pissed anybody off yet. I'm on Yelp as well. So I'm on various different platforms. Thank God for the iPhone, man. If I didn't have an iPhone or a smartphone, I should say, I wouldn't be able to do half the stuff that I'm doing right now.
No, I agree with you as far as Instagram is all that pictures and you can show
Yes,
proof of what's going
videos.
on in your day, what things are looking like. What does your day look like? When you get up in the morning, I know real estate agents, some of them, scour MLSs, they figure out maybe for
Mhm.
sale by owners. What's the day in the life of a home inspector?
I mean, it's obviously home inspections. I do a lot of them in the evening. My weekends are usually packed. What's the benefit that I have with the weekends is most people are working in the weekdays, kind of like I am as an engineer. So
Hmm.
they love doing it in the weekends anyway. So in the morning, it's just lots of emails, report writing, again, checking social media, getting all that stuff out there. And the evenings, it's like turn into the vampire, I come out. That's when I inspect for all the problems. It's a little bit easier in the summer months because, the sun goes down a lot later. I'm usually up 6:30, man, just crunching away, man. Just need to get all the work done. I get my cup of coffee, my bottle of water, just go right at it, man. And then a lot of times it's running around. I'm a little bit lucky too, working in the Jersey City, Bayonne area. Everything is so densely populated; it keeps me very busy. It gets a little bit trickier when I have to go a little bit farther out. Those I try to schedule in the weekend because then I could kind of incorporate the travel time and obviously traffic and all that. So it's a lot of juggling, man. There's some days I definitely want to rip my head out, and then other days it's like, wow, this is actually working. This was a pretty smooth day. What happened?
So it seems like you have a lot of time blocking going on in your
Yes,
day. You have some kind of systems in place. Some people that are watching that are in the real estate world or a small business world, sometimes they're all about reaction. It's like they get a phone call, it's like, now what? It shouldn't be that way. Like right now, we're
no,
having a conversation and phones are ringing, people
of
don't hear
course,
them,
yeah,
but we're taking time to educate, to give value first. And that's what people have to start figuring that out. If
yeah,
giving enough value consistently, business will come. Instead of asking and you giving those pictures on Instagram, you're painting a picture. You're showing and telling a story. You're not just sitting there, hey, use me for your home inspection. It's a little different. Even in real estate, they're always doing use me to sell homes.
yeah.
No.
That drives me crazy, man. I see that with the realtors, like they'll just take a selfie and be like, "Hey, call me if you're buying and selling," and I'm like, you know, why should they call you to buy
Yes.
and sell? Like, like I'm sure you have amazing traits to you, but why aren't you putting that out there? So don't get me wrong, everybody does it. Hey, use me for your home inspection. Hey, use me for your insurance quotes. But you got to mix it up a little bit. You can't just constantly post that and expect someone to just call you.
Right. Now, what are some hobbies that are you always is your hobby that you just work, 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 or what are some things that you do on your downtime?
You could talk to my girlfriend. She's always mad at me. I'll tell you that because I'm always constantly working, picking up my phone. It gets me in trouble a lot. But I love to travel. I'll tell you that, man. This coronavirus like kind of really killed it. It's funny. We were talking. We were like, man, we wish we would have squeezed a vacation in last December or January because we thought about it and we were like, you know what? We'll do it in the fall. And nobody had any idea that what was gonna hit us. So I love to travel. We're big. I'm a big foodie, definitely for sure. I love to go out to restaurants, new restaurants, towns. I used to be really into getting into shape. I know you just got into. I see your Facebook videos and the pictures.
Yes.
That's something I let go in a few years. I mean, I'm still sort of fit because I'm running around during inspections and I'm just naturally active for the most part. Like I move. But I used to love working out, man. And I love bike riding. I'm a little bit lucky. I have a park near me.
Hmm.
I live in the Jersey City Lincoln Park area. If your audience knows that, so I do like to bike ride there whenever I can. So I'm really big on that as well.
No, it's important to definitely keep moving. And if you're in sales, you're in a small business, you have to find time to keep yourself somewhat in shape. And if
Of
you're lucky
course.
enough to be moving around consistently, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I was very active. And then my daughter, she had her liver transplant, and there was a
Oh
lot of
man,
things
sorry
that
to hear that.
no, it was now for now, it's a miracle of what we
Okay.
were able to
Right.
gain from that whole situation. And I was like, man, I kind of put myself at put my physical health in not jeopardy, but I just wasn't worried about it.
It's
And
just you
now
forget
I'm like,
about it. That's what
yeah,
it is, man. And then like especially during the coronavirus, like you end up starting to like eat bad,
yes.
drinking more. You're sitting on the couch. I mean, thank God I've been able to keep like a steady amount of business and moving around. But like I know like a lot of people, a lot of my friends, they were talking about like I feel like it's freshman 15 all over again. I gained like 15 pounds. But yeah,
We have a bunch of people on. I want to give a couple of shout outs. We have Mark Thomas, we got Jason Goldberg, Nicole, Doug, Monica, Tony. If you guys have questions for us at all, drop them in the comments below. If you're shy, you don't want to do that, hashtag live so we know you're alive, and hit the share button for us because we want to make sure we help as many people as possible. Now, Ahmed, what is a non negotiable that you have to do? It could be a couple things, but just one that after your day's over, you're like, I was successful because I did this.
hmm. I would say probably answering all the emails or texts or phone calls, because a lot of times I get these one off questions. Hey, did you check this? Or hey, I did that. If I could address every single thing, I'll be happy to a certain extent, or even to buy myself time. There are times where a client will have a special request, or I would have to go back to a report, at least to just tell them, hey, I didn't forget about you. So to me, it's just not ignoring someone and getting to them back in a timely manner. If I could do all that, then I feel like, you know what, I did my job, I did my best. And that's something I really, really try to be strict on and firm on, just getting back to people because, like a lot of people, especially nowadays, everybody's impatient. Everybody
Mm.
wants it now, 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 now. And it's like sometimes it's like you have to curb it a little bit and you tell them, hey, I acknowledge what you're saying, just give me a little bit of time. And usually when you tell that to someone, they give you the courtesy of giving you enough time.
No, I agree with you. If you are on top of your phone calls, on top of your emails, you have those follow up, those are keys. And
Yeah,
that's how you stay in business. There
of
are people
course.
out there, and I bust the real estate agents because I have a lot of them in my network. A lot of them will get phone calls and they never return the calls. It's like, wow. And I recently,
That
I'll
was
put
an
people, I won't
opportunity.
put names out right now, but I
Hmm.
called a couple title companies recently and I texted an email, hey, I got a couple deals for you. And I never got a call back. And it's like, wait a minute. I have opportunities, just like we talked before. If someone asks online and they do a post, who can recommend a homeowners insurance company? Usually, a lot of people tag me.
Yeah,
Well, I get also, and I see other posts that are home inspections that people need, attorneys, etc. And
yeah.
that's where I get involved and I DM and tag others as well. But I'm like, wow, returning a simple phone call could have gained some income, could have gained a client, could have gained a
Mhm.
relationship. That's what
Yeah,
I'm always looking for is relationships because the more relationships you have, the more opportunities you're going to get.
yeah. You know what it is. I think some people either they're overwhelmed, they're too busy, or they say they're very busy. I mean, let's be real, we're all busy.
Hmm.
Other times too, people think that you might want something, and half the time, even with me, like some people ask me, "Hey, do you know an oil tank guy?" I'll just send them the business or whatever. And or do you know a contractor? Like I'm very cautious who I refer because obviously I want to refer someone good. I don't want it to blow back to me, you know. But every once in a while, obviously I refer people. It's just part of life. And I never ask for anything in return. The only thing I ask is hey, if you know anybody that wants a home inspector, just remember me. Or, hey, at some point, I might need your services. Just remember that. I don't need a big discount or anything. But at least if you're really busy, you'll remember me and put me in front and doing the work. That's what I tell contractors. I'm like, listen, I don't want no crazy discount. I don't
Hmm.
want nothing. But just remember the name Ahmed when that leak happens and I need you to fix it or something, and maybe you could squeeze some time and come out. So that's what it is with people. Like people are always like, I feel guarded, and we have a lot of distractions, as you know, a lot of scams. I get phone calls all the time. Yelp never stops calling me. Unbelievable. I
All
don't
the
even want to
time.
get into that.
Yeah.
Home Advisor is another one, and it's just like they just want you to sign up, but they have no ways of showing you what they could do for you. It's like, okay, you have an amazing website, great. Who cares? It's like someone with a Mercedes. Doesn't mean that they're a nice guy. It's a beautiful car. That doesn't mean you're a nice person. So that's what it is.
Now, there's a lot of agents out in my network that are watching and will be watching on the replay. And some of them might have, like we talked about, I like to be that resource. You seem like you want to
Mhm.
be that resource to others. And you are somebody that they want and should have in their arsenal to recommend so that a transaction will go smoothly. A lot of agents sometimes get a little upset. They're like, well, sometimes home inspectors can kill a deal.
Of
Well,
course.
honestly, that's a bad mindset, I think, because
Yeah.
sometimes the deal, if it's not good for the client, it
It
should
was
be
dead from the
killed.
beginning. Yeah.
Right. It shouldn't be an
Yeah.
excuse. Oh, the home inspector. It's just a fine. Those are people throwing things against the wall and
Yeah.
hoping it will stick. That's
And you
not good business.
and I tell a lot of realtors, because I like to explain things when I'm on the field. I'm not one of those home inspectors that walks in very quiet, okay, pay me, you'll get the report in another day or two. Um, I I don't like that anyway. I like to talk to people. Like, it helps me during my home inspection business. It's less awkward, more smooth. I tell realtors all the time, I'm dishing out free information. You could learn off me. You don't need to be a genius to be a home inspector. And part of the reason why it's important to educate the realtors, so when your clients are coming in and they have their expectations, hey, maybe you shouldn't look at this house with those big cracks in the foundation wall that I could see from a mile away. Or hey, I'm looking from across the street. I see your roof, half of it is like ripped off. Maybe we should find you another house, or maybe we shouldn't put that high of an offer into this house. Um, so some of these like realtors, obviously they just push the client into the house, but then I come around, I tell them the reality of all the problems, and it's like I'm the bad guy. It's like, guys, this was already here. I
Right.
also tell that to a lot of clients. I'm like, follow your gut. You don't have to be a genius to know that, hey, I'm walking into a house that might cause a lot of issues. And especially in Jersey City, Bayonne. I sometimes it's funny. Either the house is fully renovated and asking for a really high price, or you'll find a really cheap deal, and you're like, you know what? It's priced to sell, but it's priced to sell for a reason because you're gonna have to dump a lot of money, and it's not even just the money. It's just the headache. You're gonna have to get so many GCs in there, so many trades in there to fix everything and coordinating and dealing with permits and the city and all that other good stuff. So that's why I tell realtors, try to understand your client's expectations. Don't wait till the home inspection and expect your home inspector to paint a perfect picture, because any good home inspector is not going to do that. The $250 home inspector will be in and out in 20 minutes and probably miss 80% of the stuff, and maybe the deal will go through. But you're not doing your client justice either by that, because guess what? The realtor, you might get a call later. The realtor might get a call later and say, hey, why didn't you tell me about a good home inspector? I got this piece of crap home now and I'm overwhelmed, or whatever the case may be. So you're not doing anybody or yourself even a justice by doing that.
Yeah, you're an advocate for the homeowner or the buyer, and it's somebody that when you're looking at the home, just so you can correct me if I'm not stating things right, you're checking, and this could be in, I know you don't have,
Mhm.
um, well, you don't have septics
Yeah.
in Bayonne in that area, but if you're getting out in the suburbs, These are things that people should be checking.
Of
If you
course.
have radon, if you have
Yes.
an oil tank, these are all things that
Well,
encompass a home
well,
inspection.
radon we still check. I do radon inspections. I'll do also the termite inspections. I have
Oh,
the
termite.
Yeah, I have the commercial pest applicator license. So if somebody needs that form, especially if they're doing VA, FHA, or some type of special type of loan, so I could do that. I stayed away from oil tanks. I know some home inspectors do it. It's just part of the reason is the liability. I would never want to miss, God forbid, an oil tank because that's such a big deal now with the environmental concerns. So I told myself the extra two, $300 is just not worth it. I leave it for the people. And I also tell people, I'm like, honestly, hire someone that just does oil tanks, maybe even oil tank removals. I know some realtors don't like the tank removal companies because they try to overcharge soil testing, blah, blah, blah. But in all honestly, it's the oil tank business is a little bit of an art that I stay away from. It's not that I can't go get a metal detector and do it. I just stay away from that. Mold is another big one. I plan on expanding on that. I haven't gotten into that lately. There's so many different other specialties, asbestos, lead. You could easily spend over $1,000, even for a small home, just doing all these testing. I focus on what I feel like I understand and can control, also based on my schedule. That's why I make sure I inspect the roof in some shape or fashion. I either walk it or I use the drone. I use the full exterior, the interior. I mean, I do the best that I can and I follow the home inspection bylaws. I even like sometimes try to advise people. I stick to obviously the rules in the game, but I try to give a little bit more and walk people through the process. We don't like to get into numbers. A lot of home inspectors stay away from numbers
Yeah.
because it just gets us in trouble. You tell someone's a number ends up being so much higher, or if some, but people always try to squeeze a number out of me, and I always give them a much higher number. Like or I tell them, listen, it's just not. I can't give you a number. Get the appropriate trade in here, and don't go with the first quote. Get three quotes. And the sad part about it, like I'll do home inspections in downtown Jersey City, Hoboken. They look at the zip code and they look at how much the house is going for, and they'll up it by like 25%. And I tell people just be cautious for contractors like that. If you feel like the price is excessively high, go get a few more numbers. Maybe don't go with the most expensive, but don't go with the cheapest guy either. There's little games. I even made a blog about this on my website about what to look out for with contractors
Mm.
so you don't get screwed over. Here, even me as a home consumer, just someone that owns a home, I've gotten screwed with contractors before. That's why I try my best to be cautious. Sometimes I even don't tell them I'm a home inspector just to see the BS that they feed me and try to call them out on it. I've done that a few times as well. Um, so there's a lot that goes into it, man.
No, that's awesome. But again, it goes back to being an advocate for
Yes.
the buyer of that property. Do you have any questions for me?
Um, what made you get into insurance? You probably answered this question like 50 times, but
There was a time that I got out of teaching, and it
okay.
was not either going to be a travel agent or an insurance broker. And I decided, you know what? I worked with State Farm. State
Okay.
Farm, thanks to the agent, paid for all my licensing.
Awesome.
And I enjoy it because you work hard, you make sure people have the right policies, and then you have renewals. So if
Yeah.
you have and you do right and you build relationships, now you have income that will be recurring every single year or every 6 months, depends on what type of policies we're talking about. But it allows you to build something. And I really like that outlet as far as building for the future. And then you also have a lot more conversations, and everybody needs auto insurance. And this is what I tell agents: if you're calling them to buy list their home or help them buy a home, and it doesn't go where you want to go, ask them before you even leave the conversation, when's the last time you reviewed your auto insurance?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh. And I'm like, why? Because that person will be calling me only for and thinking for auto insurance, but I will say, I'll get all their information for auto quote, and then I'll say, "Are you a homeowner or are you a renter?"
Hmm.
and I'll either go down either path. You're a
Of course.
homeowner. Have you been thinking about buying or selling real estate this year?
Bundling. Yeah.
Yes. Or if they're a renter, are you thinking about buying a property this year? How much are you paying in rent? How long have you been renting? You know, it's
Hmm.
better to own than rent, right? So I now swing that lead back to a real estate agent
That's
who
awesome.
all they thought they were calling me for was auto insurance. So it's something that I enjoy helping as many people as possible. That's really,
It's very rewarding too, man.
yes,
Like I love when I get a review or even a text saying, "Hey, Ahmed, the home inspection was above and beyond. Thank you very much." I mean, it makes you smile, makes you feel good inside. Obviously, you made money off that, but you didn't know that you helped someone so strongly. I mean, it's priceless, man.
yeah. And I like looking at what others are, what kind of policies they have, and doing a second opinion insurance review.
Yeah,
And most of the time, they're underinsured. They're not insured properly. I can actually get them better coverage sometimes
for
for
the same
maybe
price.
sometimes either the same or maybe a little bit better price. But
I,
a lot of people think, oh, I want the cheapest. And the
yeah,
cheapest is where you get
not always
yourself
the
in
best.
trouble, right?
No,
It's
I
not always
know.
the best.
It's funny you say that because even with because I own two properties, and I jumped around a little bit with insurance companies. Like the first one was just like, oh, your rails aren't installed. I'm like, great, I'm gonna do that in another month or two when I do the masonry in the front. They were like, no, you have to do in the next 2 weeks. We're dropping you. I'm like, okay, great. So I went to go find another one. And then I think I was dealing with a broker at that time because the realtor recommended him. They found me a really cheap deal, but it looked like it was way too cheap. And then I'm like, what is the name of this company? I've never heard of this company. Like, the big names, the Liberties, the
Yes.
the Progressives. And I ended up not doing the cheapest one. And I even, like you said, looked at the coverage, how much they're putting in. Are they doing sewer backup? Ends up being like an extra $50 a year. I was like, you know what? Let me put sewer backup in there for an extra $50 a year. That's a no-brainer. I mean,
Yep.
I probably spend more in a month on cold brews. So the same thing with auto. I think I was with Geico for the longest. They were the cheapest. When I got my new car, all of a sudden they're not the cheapest. I'm like, I got a more new car that breaks for me in case I wasn't paying attention, and you jump up my bill by $100 a month. Like, are you serious? And then I ended up finding someone else, and so I already know like exactly what you go through. I mean, even me, you know, a lot of times come renewal, they'll increase it, and I'll have no losses or no issues, and I'm like, what happened? Like, did the sky fall down? Well, like, why is they're like, and then they'll give you some excuse like, oh, you were underpriced from the beginning, blah blah blah. I'm like, so you want to push away someone that's
Yeah.
been paying you and has done no losses, been really on top of paying, and I always pay the full year. I don't even pay monthly because you get a little bit of a bigger discount
Right. Yep.
and they don't care. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'll take my business elsewhere. I mean, that just doesn't make sense to me.
No, it's so true. It's so true. And I know
Yeah.
we're running out of time because we have time blocking, right? That's the important thing. What are some final thoughts you would like to share with everyone today?
So I'll give you guys one tip with the home inspection. I'll stick to the home inspection. Keep the moisture out of your house, and the house will live forever. I must say this all the time. Any realtor that works for me knows how big I am about making recommendations regarding moisture. The downspouts, extend them out. The roofs, inspect them. Clean your gutters. Make sure the grading is okay. So that's one tip. A home inspector is pretty much going to tell you how water is going to destroy your home. Keep the water out of the house, and your house will live forever. This is for sellers, for potential buyers, for realtors. Just keep an eye out on how water is going to get in. So that's my number one tip as a home inspector that I could give to someone.
That's value right there. And there's lots of value in this conversation. So if somebody just tuned in now, definitely wait till this uploads and definitely, replay it from the beginning because lots of value in this conversation. I appreciate you taking some time out of your day.
I
And
appreciate you having me.
oh yeah, I consider you a friend. Would definitely do a lot more, business in the near future. And if you could, please, after go into the comments, drop all your contact information so everybody could reach out to you, friend
Will
request
do.
you, and reach out to you and see if they can get you some business as well. So I
Perfect.
appreciate you taking some time out, and I hope that everybody that's watching has an awesome rest of their day.
Thank you.